This is lesson 214, angles in a triangle. So Marco has decided to turn the parallelograms into triangles that we looked at last time by adding a line. So remember, these were parallelograms and Marco has added a line through them. So he wants us to shade each of the angles on the triangle a different color. So I'm going to do this angle red, so all the triangles that have shifted down are red. Pink over here. And then how about green at the bottom? Okay. And then we're going to use our tracing paper to make sure that we have the other triangles. Okay, so these are also green. More pinks. And then the rest that we didn't get are red. Okay. Oh, and then I missed this green angle. Okay. So we're going to look at this tiling, and we can see a relationship between the three different angles. Let's see right here that two of each angle make a circle. Okay, so this tells you about two of each angle, so maybe like two blues, or I guess that's green, two greens plus two reds, and I'm talking about the angles here, plus two pinks made a circle, so 360. So if we divided this side by 2 and this side by 2 to just get the green plus the red plus the pink, those angles add up to 180. So this tells us that the angles in a triangle add up to 180. 180 degrees. So would this work for any triangle? Let's look at this diagram. So we have a triangle here. If we made this a transversal, we would know that D and A are the same. So I'm going to highlight those with the same color. Okay. And B and whatever this angle would be the same. And then a different transversal cutting through. E and C would be the same, okay? And so let's take a look at what we just discovered here. All three angles in the triangle, red, green, and pink, are also the angles that add up to a line. And so we have that these three angles equals 180 degrees. And these are the same three angles that are inside the triangle. So this proves that angles inside a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So we have something called the triangle angle sum theorem. Okay, sum means to add. So we're talking about what the triangle angles add to. So the angles inside a triangle add up to 180 degrees. Always, always, always. So with that information, let's find the missing angles. So we've got a missing angle here, but we know that all three should add up to 180. So we could make the following equation. So that x equals 60 degrees. Over here, same thing, adding them all up to 180. So we'll have 3x plus 108. And then uh, 3x equals 72. So that x equals 24. Okay. So we have special triangles here. Okay, an equilateral triangle has all the same sides, which actually means that all the angles are the same as well. Okay, so because of this, what we can do is take the 180 that they're supposed to add up to and simply divide by 3 because there's 3 angles and they're all the same. So 180 divided by 3 is 60 degrees. So in an equilateral triangle, each angle is 60 degrees. Okay, here in an isosceles right triangle, we know that these 2 angles are going to be the same, and this square means that this angle is 90. So let's first figure out what we have left after this 90-degree angle. We have 90 degrees to split between the 2 of these. But we know they're the same, so what we can do is divide 90 by 2, and we would have 45 degrees. So each angle here is 45 degrees, and that should still add up to 180. But what if we only know one angle of an isosceles triangle? For example, if A is 34, okay, what would the other 2 angles equal? Well, because this is isosceles, we know that these 2 angles are the same. So we can do the same thing we just did for the isosceles right triangle. So let's get rid of this 34 first. Okay, so the amount we have left for these 2 angles is 146 degrees. Okay, we know that these 2 angles are the same, so we can take 146 and divide by 2, and that means that each angle is 73 degrees. All right, again, fill out the key concepts on your own, but here is the check your understandings. All of these should add up to 180. So 70 plus 50 is 120, which means that all that is left for 80 is 60 degrees, or for A is 60 degrees. 94 plus 23 plus our mystery angle should be 180. So that means that x is 63. All right, here, angle A if we add the 62 and the 63, that's 125. So 180 minus 125 is 55 for A. And then if we want to know B, it looks like B makes a straight line with A, so those are supplementary angles. So for B, 180 minus 55, that is going to be 125 for B. Over here, it's kind of the same problem. We're going to need to find this angle first before we can find the mystery angle. So 41 plus 61 plus, let's call this x. Those should add up to 180 because they're in a triangle. So that is going to be 78 degrees. And then, like we saw before, this other angle is a supplementary pair with the angle we just found. And so we can do 78 plus this mystery angle equals 180. And we get 102 degrees. And then over here, I'm going to have to take a look at what I should do first, okay? Right now, I can't figure out what D is because I would need to know this other angle. Okay, so why don't I find that angle? I can't even find that one yet. So why don't we find this angle over here? 10 plus 38 plus, let's call this x. That should add up to 180. And so that is going to be 132. So I'm going to add that in here, 132. And then this angle is supplementary with that angle, so those should add up to 180. So I'm going to take that away from 180. So this angle is 48. Okay, and now I can find what D is because I know the two other angles. So 62 plus 48 plus D should be 180. 62 plus 48 is 110, which means that D is 70 degrees. On to the medium. Okay, let's find this missing angle first. So 61 plus 65 is 126. So 180 minus 126 is 54. Okay, and then they want to know these other angles. All of these angles are supplementary. They make a straight line, so they should add up to 180. So here's the equations I'm going to do. 54 plus B should be 180. 61 plus A should be 180. And 65 plus C should be 180. So if I do the math here, B should be 126. A should be 119. And C should be 115. And it wants to add these all up actually. Okay, so 126 plus 119 plus 115 is 360. That is interesting. Okay, it wants us to find this angle, but first I'm going to find the angle inside the triangle. I'm going to call it X. So 25 plus 108 is 133. So that is going to be 47 for X. So that's 47. And then these two angles right here, 47 plus our mystery angle is going to get us 180. So our mystery angle is 133. All right, here I'm going to find the missing angle in the triangle, and that's going to be 130, because these two are 50 together. And then this angle is a vertical angle with 130, which means it's the same. So that one is also 130. All right, let's see here. We're gonna need to do some solving. This should be 180 in total, so the inside piece is going to be 50. This should be 180 in total, so that is going to be 40. And now we can find A right now. 40 plus 50 plus A should be 180. So A is 90. Which means B is also 90. And then here, again, adding them up to 180. So we're going to get 8x plus 132 equals 180. 8x equals 50. And then x equals 6.25. On to the spicy. We got some crazy problems going on here, but we can do them. We're just going to start filling in the pieces. These are vertical angles, so this guy right here is 75. These are vertical angles, so 45. And then 75 plus 45 is 120, so this is going to be 60 because it's inside a triangle. These angles are supplementary, so 60 plus 79 plus x should be 180. So this is 41. And then here we have another triangle. So 41 plus 68 plus, let's call that y, equals 180. So that's 71. Okay, and then these two are supplementary. They should add up to 180, which means that this is 109. Okay, here, vertical angles and vertical angles. So this is 80, this is 60. So we can make an equation that says x plus 51 plus 80 plus 60 should be 180. Okay, so 80 plus 60 plus 51 is 191. So x plus 191 equals 180. And x is actually going to be a negative number, but that is okay, because when we plug it back in, it's negative 11 plus 51, which is 40 degrees, which means that that adds up to 180, like it should. Okay, more vertical angles here, so 4x plus 17. So our equation is 4x plus 17 plus x plus 23 plus 80 equals 180. 80 plus 23 plus 17 is 120. And then the x's together make 5x. So then 5x equals 60. So x equals 12. All right, here, let's see what we can figure out. Ooh, this is an isosceles triangle, so these two angles should be the same. So if I remove the 50, we are going to be left with 130 degrees to split between these two angles. So 130 divided by 2 gets me 65. So each of these angles is 65 degrees. This is going to make a straight line with 180. So 65 plus this mystery angle equals 180. So that angle is 115. And then finally we can find x because we've got the other two angles in our triangle. So 115 plus 31 plus x should be 180. So then x is 34. Finally, we've got one more question here. On the outside, this is 318. So the inside is going to be 360 minus 318 because this would make a circle. So 360 minus 318 gets us 42. Okay. And then this is an isosceles trapezoid. So these two angles are the same. So we know it's supposed to add up to 80. So 180 minus 42 that we already found is going to get me 138. And that's what's going to be split up by these two angles. So 138 divided by 2 is 69. These are each 69 degrees.